Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class Wheeljack from the Transformers Studio series from Hasbro. As you can see, he is number 81. He is featured in the first few minutes of the movie Transformers Bumblebee. Nice close-up picture of Wheeljack on this side. A little bit further zoomed out view of Wheeljack on this side. And then over here on the back, of course, we have the robot mode and the vehicle mode. And these are all Cybertronian modes, so they're not based on any actual cars, unlike most of Studio Series. But yeah, pretty cool. I'm excited for this one. I'm going to go ahead and get him out of the box, and we're going to take a closer look. So here's Wheeljack with the backdrop that's included, and as you may have guessed, it's the exact same one that came with Ratchet and Brawn. I get it, they're all in the same scene of the movie, and they're all only really in the movie for 5 minutes, but it's a little boring to just keep getting the same backdrop over and over and over again, but it is what it is. So here's Wheeljack out of the packaging. He looks pretty cool. Again, really no kibble whatsoever, just like the others. Robot mode's pretty clean. The legs are a little weird. We'll get into that when we get into transformation, but for the most part, he's pretty good. You can see that the hips on mine are really kind of loose, which is a shame because the shoulders are really tight. So it's weird to have some joints be really tight and other joints be kind of loose. This leg's not too bad, but I mean, it kind of holds the pose for the most part, but definitely kind of loose. Let's do a quick size comparison. We will bring in Ratchet and Brawn. So you can see Wheeljack's, somewhere in between. Not quite as tall as Ratchet, definitely taller than Brawn. They look good together. You also don't really notice how off-white Wheeljack is until you put the ridiculously bright white Ratchet next to him. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, he's a pretty good figure. Head sculpt's pretty good. Nice metallic blue there for the ears and the eyes. Some silver for the face. Head's on a ball joint so you can look side to side, no problem. You can look up pretty far, actually. You can look down a little bit. You have a little bit of tilt side to side, but not a ton. You have really tight shoulder joints. The shoulders on mine are really tight. So you have a ball joint there. So you can get kind of some out to the side. You can get some side to side. Now, unfortunately, because they're so tight, they're constantly unpegging the torso. And you'll see what I mean. You can peg it back in. But it's just, I'm hoping over time these loosen up a little bit because these are really tight. You have double jointed elbows there. Nothing in the wrist. That's one solid piece. These kind of angle a little bit for the transformation, but mostly they just kind of jiggle around in robot mode. You have a waist swivel here. Ball joint in the hips. You got a nice range of motion. Mine's just a little loose. You have 90 degrees in the knee there. You do have a thigh swivel, even though it's kind of hidden. You don't really see it at first, but it's definitely there. And then he has front to back in the ankle, but he doesn't have ankle tilt, which is weird. Unless I'm totally missing something, I've really looked at this for a while. Does not have ankle tilt, which I feel like is kind of a problem, because it's kind of become the standard for figures nowadays, and I do kind of miss it. But for the most part, it's a pretty cool little robot mode. Also, the wings are on the back of the shoulders, so they move around, which I don't know if I like all that much. I kind of wish they were on his back so they could stay stationary while you moved the arms around. Because if I move his arm like that, it's kind of a weird look. But if he's just posed like this, it's not a big deal. So, pretty good robot mode. Not perfect, but pretty cool. Let's go ahead and let's get into the transformation. Oh, one last thing. I'm sorry, I forgot one last thing. The gun, obviously he could hold it in his hand. But it does have a peg on the side, so if you want to go ahead and store it on his back, you can do so. You can peg it in like that, or if you really want, you could peg it in using the handle. So you have a couple options there. So I'm going to put that off to the side, and now let's get to the transformation. Alright, so getting into the transformation, it's a little bit more complicated than I expected. Not too bad. If we come around to the back, we are going to take these wings and just kind of fold them down so that they're in line with the arm. Like so. You're going to take the arm sections and kind of unpeg them just a little bit so that they kind of hang down a little bit like that. You're going to flip this section up and then kind of flip this section down. Then there's a second piece under here that you're going to flip out, and that's all in line like that. You're going to lift the head up so it goes back like this. Then you're going to straighten this part out, which can be a little difficult because it's kind of a tight joint. And then you're going to turn the head sideways like so. At this point, you're going to bring the arms straight out like this. And then you're going to swivel these panels all the way around. So you kind of have to make sure that this front part's out of the way. But you're going to swivel this around so it goes like this. Do the same with the other arm. And then you'll kind of peg the two arms together like that. And then drop these all the way down. And you can kind of see that there's like a little carve out. And it's going to be kind of hard to see. But you can see in this piece of plastic here, there's like a perfect notch for the arm and the wing so that it's supposed to rest in there just like that, which is kind of cool. Now you're going to come around to the bottom, move this back out of the way, swivel the waist around 180 degrees, like so. You have to kind of unhook this piece, which is kind of loosely tabbed into this piece over here, and then you're going to swivel this around 180 degrees, like so, and then that's going to click in right there. So we're going to do the same thing, kind of unhook this and then swivel it around 180 degrees, and then that will click into place. Just pop the panels in like so. Okay, now we come down, we move these a little bit over to the side. We have to bend at the knee. So we do that here so that we can take the shin piece and kind of pull it away from the leg. And it has like a little pin that can pop out. So you can see right there, like that's it all the way pushed in. You have to pull that out. And then this will swivel around like this. We're going to do the same with this one over here, like so. Then we are going to push this back up, and then we can push it down against the leg. So this kind of tucks this underneath here like so, and then we can kind of line this piece up like that, so we have the other wheel in place. Like so, there we go. This piece here is going to drop down and fit into this little spot right here. And then we can bring these sections down, and then it's just kind of a matter of lining all these panels up and clicking everything into place, and then those two halves will click together, and then where we go. So then we take this piece, we drop this down. There's a little spot right here, you can see that rectangle that is going to peg into these two tabs right here. So this comes down and then clips into place like so, and then we're pretty much done. At this point we're going to use those double jointed elbows to flip the hands up, and they have to kind of tuck underneath this piece. And then you can see that there are two tiny little tabs right there that are going to clip in right there. So make sure that's tabbed in, and then push this all the way in using the elbows. There we go. And then you can kind of just drift them down like that. And there we go. Oh, I forgot one last piece. This actually flips into the hood of the car. And there we go. We have our little Wheeljack vehicle mode. It's pretty cool. I like it. I don't really like how this just kind of flips into the hood of the car, though, because that does not hide well. But that's not that big a deal. You get the windshield here. You have some maroon and green here, just like the original character. A little bit of green there on the side. Rolls pretty well. You can take the gun, and this has this trapezoidal shaped peg, and you can peg that in right there. So then this just pops on right there like that, and that way you can mount the gun on top. So it's pretty cool. I like it. It's definitely very compact. I feel like that's one thing they've done very well with these Cybertronian modes for Bumblebee. You have a pretty nice size robot mode that really compacts and shrinks down into a cool little car. So, like I said, transformation, a little bit more complicated than you might think, but after you do it once or twice, it's really not that difficult, and the alt mode you're left with looks pretty cool. So Wheeljack's pretty cool. Unfortunately, he's probably my least favorite of the three, and that's not to say that there's a lot wrong with him. He's just not really perfect, and I just think Brawn and Ratchet are a little bit stronger. I really do miss the ankle tilts. I feel like that's something he really needs because it causes him to kind of stand very rigid, which is kind of a bummer. I really wish the wings were on the back and not so much the shoulders, because it just kind of looks weird when you want to pose the arm like this. Unfortunately, because the shoulders on mine are so tight, it makes the torso kind of pull apart, and it just doesn't stay together as well as I'd like. Not a huge problem, because like I said, it's not coming apart all the time. It's not super loose. It just doesn't hook together as well as I would like. I do like that you can store the gun on the back. I think that's pretty cool. That's something that they all have in common. Hips on mine are a little loose. Again, that could just be mine. Hopefully that's not all of them. Like I said, he's not bad. He's just not perfect, and I think the other two are pretty perfect. So I definitely still recommend picking him up, but if you're on a budget, I would recommend Ratchet or Brawn before Wheeljack. But if you can get all three, I think all three are a pretty good time. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.